Hi everyone, Rebecca here, and welcome to the very first episode of my Priority One Financial Coaching Podcast. Name to be determined. I wanted to jump on here and do this quick recording of my why and how this financial coaching business came about. So, about a year ago in July of 2021, my husband and I, we were on vacation with our 2-year-old at the time, and I was pregnant with our second daughter. And my husband, who's a sheriff's deputy, it works crazy hours. So, for those of you who are a law enforcement family, I feel you. I get it. My husband works the crazy hours, and we got into the habit of really relying on that overtime when it came to our income, and we recognized that while we were on vacation that summer, and learned just how dependent on that money we had become because we, wanted to do so many things. We wanted to buy so many things. And so eventually all those purchases caught up with us, and we realized that we wanted to make a change. And we sat down that summer and wrote out all of our debts from smallest to largest, Dave Ramsey style, and realized that we had racked up over 70,000. I think it was close to $75,000 in debt. And it was really eye-opening to us. And then once we sat down and actually started crunching our numbers and seeing what we were spending our money on, that was equally as eye-opening for us, because we realized that we were spending a majority of our money on things that we really didn't need to spend our money on. It was just convenient to spend our money on. And, this was towards the end of the pandemic. And so we had established a few habits of, ordering too much food or going out a lot because we weren't unable to go out for so long. And so that was the first place that we started when it came to managing our finances, as we decided that we were going to cut back on our, restaurant spending, eating out, fast food, coffee. Starbucks was a big culprit for me. I think my first trimester that I was pregnant with my second daughter, I went to Starbucks every single day during my first trimester because the bacon Gouda sandwich was the only thing that I could stomach. It was the only thing that I could eat. And I remember one day I was driving to work and I stopped at one Starbucks. And for those of you who are Starbucks goers, you're going to remember what it was like when this happened. So I went to Starbucks and they didn't have the bacon Gouda. And so pregnant me was like, well, there's another Starbucks along the way. I'll just stop at that Starbucks. And I stopped at that Starbucks and there was no bacon Gouda. And so I was like, oh my gosh, no, I need my bacon Gouda because I'm pregnant and I have not ate and nothing in the world sounds good. Everything else is going to make me vomit. And so I drove to another Starbucks. This is how bad my Starbucks addiction was back then. So needless to say, I did not get the bacon Gouda sandwich because Starbucks was out of them for some reason. Stupid supply chain issues. Anyways, I know I just went off on a tangent, but I thought that story was pretty funny. And once we realized how much of our money was going towards eating out, coffee, fast food, that sort of thing, we knew that it wasn't necessarily going to be easy, but at least we had a plan. And so I started us on a budget, and now I no longer call it a budget because I've noticed that most people have a negative connotation with the word budget. It feels restrictive. And so instead of trying to change a person's perception of what a budget is, I decided to start calling my budget something different. So now I call my budget a spending plan. And that's exactly what it is it is a plan on how I'm going to spend my money for the month. Or it could be a plan for how I'm going to spend my money for the week or every, bi-weekly, whatever your pay period is, your budget is your plan on how you're going to spend your money for that pay period. And once we figured that out, it was a game changer for us. We started dreaming a little bit more. We started dreaming bigger than what we had been when we were having all of these convenience purchases, because our worldview or our purchasing view or what we were interested in was so narrow. It was just kind of like within this little bubble. And once we kind of popped that bubble and said, no, we are going to be intentional with our money and not waste it on things that don't matter, it started to open our eyes to what we could actually do with our money. And once I realized that, I knew that I wanted to help other people get to that point. I knew that there were other families out there who, whether you're in debt or you're just having a hard time saving. Maybe you really don't want your husband to have to work so much overtime and you want to learn how to cut back on the expenses that you currently have. All of those are experiences that we experience personally and that we're currently working towards. And I want to share that knowledge with people, and I want to help others achieve this sense of peace that we have achieved through this process. Our finances no longer run our lives. They are a tool that helps us navigate our life and achieve the goals that we have and focus on the priorities that we have. But it's not something that runs us. It's not something that dictates our decisions. We decide what our money does. Our money does not decide what it does. And once you get into that mindset and you start to get your priorities in place, start setting goals for yourself, and create a plan, a spending plan, everything, the stress that is associated with money slowly starts to fall away. And then one day you look up and you might look at your partner or you might look at yourself in the mirror and realize that stress, that financial stress that had been weighing you down a little while ago, it's no longer there. And that's what my financial coaching program can do for you. So if you are interested in hearing a little bit more about what a financial coach does or what my program offers, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I'm going to be tuning in at least every other week to talk to you guys about finances and spending plans and saving plans. And we're going to get into all the nitty-gritty details around personal finance. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Priority1FC. You can check out my website where I have some more details on what my coaching program entails, and that's www.priority1fc.com. I'll also link everything below. But until next time, thank you so much for joining in, and I will talk to you later. Have a good one.